thought they would have a clunker. They did not. They advanced to the Sweet 16. And now they get a good matchup because they go up against the BYU team that plays just like they do. And usually when a Nate Oates and Alabama team play a team that wants to play the same style as them, that usually means good things for Bama. BYU's on a roll right now. They have really good shooters. They have a couple pros in Richie Saunders and Igor Demon. Kevin Young's done an incredible job in his first season. Bama's favored by 4.5 in this game. The total is 174.5. This opened at like 170.5. It quickly went up to 172. Then it went up to 174. Now we have 174.5. I've talked about it a bunch on this show. But whenever Bama gets in these high-stake games, these tournament games, and they're playing against a team that's similar to them, an elite offensive team that doesn't mind getting in a running game, a back-and-forth type game, I always love looking at the first half over in these games. I would not be shocked if this game is like 47-43, 48-42 at halftime. So I'm looking at the first half over 82.5 for Bama and BYU. To give you guys an idea of like some of the games that Bama has played going into halftime when they've played some of the elite offensive teams in the country. Against Purdue, when they played them, the combined score at halftime was 82. When they played Kentucky twice this season, combined score was 92 and 87 at half. Auburn was 75 and 87. Missouri was 105. And then Florida 81 and 92 in the two matchups with the Gators this season. So as you can see, even when they've gone under, a lot of them have been like 81, 82. You had the 75 against Auburn, but some of these games are combined for like 92. The Missouri was 105. I think we're going to get some fireworks there early on in that game. So first half over 82.5, Bama and BYU. That would be my look. Then Maryland and Florida. This is going to be a really interesting game, right? Both teams feels like had their survive and advance game yesterday. Florida just gets past UConn. Maryland with Derek Queen beats Colorado State at the buzzer. Florida 6.5-point favorites right now at BetMGM. Total in the game is 155.5. If you like Maryland in the game, I think a first to 15 would be a good bet in this one. Maybe even Maryland first half as well. The Terps have to start fast in this game. If they start like they did against Colorado State, against the Gators, they're going to get blown out of the building. They have no shot. They got to start fast. They got to hit their threes, and they got to hope that Walter Clayton Jr. has an off game for Florida as well. I've been telling you guys when it comes to player props, like just bet Walter Clayton over 17.5 points, over 18.5 points every single game. If it's under 20, you just bet the over on Walter Clayton, and he's been going over that, and Florida's been winning games. The correlation's that simple. So if he goes under that, the Maryland's got a chance. Now, obviously, the Crab Five is awesome. Their starting lineup is really good. A concern, though, I have for the Terps going into this game is how poor they rebounded against Colorado State. Now you're facing Florida and all their big guys. It's going to be a tough matchup. So the Terps have to be good on the glass. I think if you like Maryland, though, you've got to bet the over because I think Florida's going to be able to score and get their points. If the Terps want to win this game, they got to be able to knock down their three-point shots. So no official plays yet for me in this game, but I think if you like the Terps, I think I would look at them again. Maybe first to 15 if you want to have some fun, get some plus money, but also a first half bet on the Terps at plus 3.5. Arizona and Duke. This Duke team right now is kind of giving me vibes of the UConn team we've seen the last couple years, and like those UConn team the last 2 years who won every game by double digits. It feels like anything under 10 is probably a good bet with Duke. Now, Arizona's a good team. They're good offensively, and Caleb Love, for as much flack as he gets, has been really good here over the last couple weeks. He was great in the Big 12 tournament. He hit big shot after big shot last night against Oregon, and he gets another crack at Duke. So that should be a fun storyline to watch. But again, this Duke team has been the most impressive team thus far. They dominated the 16C Mount St. Mary's as expected. Yesterday, dominated Baylor as well. Their offense is now rated first in efficiency according to Ken Pom. Their defense is number 4. Cooper Flagg looks healthy. Again, I think anything single-digit spread with Duke, you got to lay it at minus 9.5. Arkansas, Texas Tech. Now, this will be a fun one. Red Raiders favored by 5.5. Total is 147.5. Obviously, John Calipari's done an incredible job in Fayetteville, and both teams should get some key pieces back potentially in the Sweet 16. Arkansas could get back one of their better players in Adu Thiero, and Texas Tech could get back one of their better players in Chance McMillan. Both guys didn't play in either of the first 2 games for either team. when we get to the Sweet 16, something that you guys should look for when I like handicapping these games is think about it in terms of those survivor pools, right? I'm sure a lot of you watching and listening to this show are in March Madness survivor pools where you pick one team each day of the tournament and then you can't use that team again, right? And when we get to the Sweet 16, usually everybody is betting on the same games. And you look at when we get to the round of 16 on Thursday, everybody's going to either take Bama or Texas Tech most likely, because obviously the winner of those two games are likely going to face Duke and Florida. So usually the way these things work are that either Bama or Texas Tech is going to be on upset alert. And again, I think the matchup is good for Bama because they're playing a team that wants to play just like them, whereas Texas Tech is going up against an Arkansas team that's getting another key player back. Their defense is really good, and I think their offense is a little bit better than we give them credit for. And you got a Hall of Fame coach who's usually really good in the underdog role, as we saw against St. John. So I like Arkansas plus 5.5. I take some money line with them as well. Then as we look at Friday's games, we got Ole Miss against Michigan State. It's a tough game. I've been fading Michigan State in every game of the tournament. I took Bryant. I took New Mexico. Neither of those bets worked out for me. I think I'm probably going to come back and take Ole Miss as well, and it's because of two words: Chris Beard. Guy's a ridiculous coach. He's getting the most out of this Ole Miss team. They dominated Iowa State yesterday. That was a really impressive performance. So I think especially getting them over the full possession at 3.5, I would look at Ole Miss plus the points. Kentucky and Tennessee will be a really interesting game. Kentucky beat Tennessee twice in the regular season. So they're going to have to beat a really good Tennessee squad 3 times. You get Rick Barnes as a favorite once again in the tournament. He has not been good in those spots, ATS or straight up. And Kentucky, not only have they been good against Tennessee this season, they've just been good in general against defensive-minded teams. And credit Kentucky, man. Without Jackson Robinson, they playing really well. They had a really good game against Illinois yesterday. So I'm staying away from this game. I think it's a good game to live bet. I would honestly look at the under. I think that's probably the best play in the game. So I like under 146.5. Michigan and Auburn. This is probably my favorite bet of the Sweet 16, and it's going to be Michigan plus the points, and I'd look at some money line for Michigan as well. Michigan's kind of giving me NC State vibes, just kind of like that team of destiny right now that's going to make that magical Final Four run. They just win every close game, and they execute down the stretch and just find ways to win. They're going to have Vlad Golden down low on Janai Broome, which could be a really difficult matchup for Broome as well. Dusty May is a heck of a coach, man. He's been to the Final Four. He's 6-2 in March Madness as a head coach with FAU. And Michigan, again, ever since the regular season ended, this team won the Big Ten tournament. Now here they are. Great win over UC San Diego. Great win over Texas A&M. This team's been unbelievable on neutral site games this season, and I think they continue to roll. So I like Michigan plus the 8.5. I like them on the money line as well. And then finally, a bet that I really like in Houston and Purdue. I'm looking at the first half under 62.5 points in this game. So of all the regionals that we have for the Sweet 16 upcoming, this one is the most interesting because in Indianapolis, they're playing at the football stadium. They're playing at Lucas Oil. They're not playing at Gamebridge where the Pacers play. So this is going to feel like a Final Four with these guys playing in an NFL stadium, which means the sight lines are going to be different. The shooting might be a little bit off. You kind of tend to see that a lot of times when teams play at football stadiums. And you combine that with the fact that Houston is playing in this game with their defense. I think this is going to be a low-scoring first half. I think there's going to be an adjustment period for both teams trying to kind of get it acclimated to playing in a football stadium when obviously you're used to playing in a basketball arena. So a late start. Purdue's going to have a great home court advantage playing there in Indianapolis, but I think going up against that Houston defense, playing in an NFL stadium, I think it's a bad combo. So I would look at first half under 62.5 there for Purdue and Houston. I like that quite a bit.